Yeah, it's lunchtime, so we had to stop real quick here at McDonald's. That allow me to eat on the way out and on the way back and to keep the project moving the whole time. You can tell it's a little bit rainy out. It is definitely spring. So when I was in high school, I worked at McDonald's, and I worked at McDonald's for a total of like 4 or 5 years. 5 years, 5.5 years actually. And the one thing that you always risk when you're going through the drive-thru, which I just did, was ordering chicken, because chicken is not as popular. Now, if you were to Chick-fil-A, they're always going to have chicken up. But chicken here at McDonald's, if you want something fresh, number one, I'm getting it fresh because I know I'm just having to sit here and wait for it to be cooked. Thank you. And so now that I've got this chicken here, I know that they probably were out because they don't keep as much fresh, which means that they had to drop a basket of chicken. That means that I probably got a fresh chicken sandwich in here. They're trying to redo their chicken sandwiches currently so that they compete a little bit more with Chick-fil-A, which so far it's pretty hit or miss. If they don't have a lot of chicken sandwich volume, what you get is a super dried out piece of chicken. If they were to do it up to corporate standards, bam, 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 and throw it out as soon as it expires, because when you cook a tray of chicken or you cook a tray of meat, whichever it was, and they've got two different types of meat. They got 10-to-1, which is 1/10 of the pound, which is their normal stuff. They've got quarter meat, which is 4-to-1. And then they've got chicken, they've got fish. Nuggets are cooked in a totally different section, and they take those out and they say, I need a tray of 10-to-1. So you slap down, I think it's 9 total pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Clam goes down, and in 70 seconds, you get a tray of 10-to-1. So you almost never wait. So if you're ordering a regular cheeseburger, the McDouble, anything like that, it's in, out, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. It's very, very quick. But the fish, you probably only keep 2 pieces of fish in a tray at a time. And when you slide those into the warmer tray, push a button on it, it gives you 5 minutes. So it can only sit in that tray for 5 minutes before they got to waste it, they got to throw it away. So they're very, very calculating in the quantities that they keep while you're running one of the stations. And typically, I would run a station where I would run just 10-to-1. The next station to the left of me would run quarter meat. I might run that as well. And then you'd have a person who's on the fryer over here, very similar to what you hear about if you listen to Anthony Bourdain's descriptions of his running a kitchen. It's obviously a much more upscale version of McDonald's. But anyway, the point is this. You may only have 2 to 3 pieces of chicken. The last one I forgot, the grilled chicken. And I don't even know if I see the grilled chicken on their menu anymore. And it was one of the worst because it takes like 8 minutes to cook. And that's because you put it in this ring, there's like a cloche, if you will, over the top of it. And then you pour water into the top, and that allows it to steam and cook at the same time. So you get a little bit of the Maillard effect. You get some of that brown crispiness, but at the same time, it keeps it moist and tender. But anyway, just some thoughts as I was driving through the McDonald's. That McDonald's there that I stopped at, it's on the north side of Charlotte. It is far and away, without comparison, the number one McDonald's in Charlotte for doing or executing the food and the service at the standards that corporate has set out. Now, a fun story, the McDonald's that I worked at was owned by a guy named Jimmy Kleinsasser. And Jimmy Kleinsasser, back in the 60s, started at a corporate McDonald's. He was a maintenance boy, excuse me, and throughout his career, he worked up through the McDonald's Corporation till he was number 3 or number 4 in the United States in the McDonald's Corporation. Now, when he went to retire, McDonald's gave him the opportunity to buy 5 McDonald's stores in Rapid City, South Dakota. Very profitable set of stores. Jimmy bought those and ran those like corporate. And I can tell you what, even in little tiny Rapid City, we're talking a town of 80,000 people, the store that I worked at, okay? The store that I worked at made boatloads of money. The one on East North Street was the number 2 by volume store in the Denver region, second only to the Minneapolis Airport McDonald's. Crazy. The other thing that I loved is like Jimmy would come in and he would work with us once or twice a week. He would schedule meetings with his store managers and he would come by the stores. You know, he's working through 5 of them, 1 of them per day, doing other things. But he would come in and he'd work the line. He knew my name. He knew who I was, knew kind of what my skill sets were. It was a cool experience. I learned a lot about organization, workflow, all that stuff. And this was right about the time where their just-in-time system went into effect when I got there, okay, before I actually started working in the back. So the first year when I would work the till in the lobby, they would do an old system where they would make 10 Big Macs. And they would just run a Big Macs, they do 10 Big Macs, they make all the pieces, slide the Big Macs up into the tray. So if you order a Big Mac, it's not made to order. That Big Mac had been sitting completely assembled in the warmer for who knows how long, 5 minutes. And they would say, I need 10 cheeseburgers, bam, and you'd knock out 10 cheeseburgers. I mean, you can do that really quickly, but they moved to a made-to-order system so that as I'm at the till and I'm punching things up, boop, pops up back there. I see that. I'm the expediter. I pull out the wrappers for the things that I need. I drop the buns into the bun toaster. Those come out. Condiments, bam, bam. Knock the condiments, slide that down. Pickles, onions, slide that down. The next person who works at meat, they're pulling out whatever types of meat that they need. And then they're starting to wrap and they slide that down. And that quickly, that's how they're pushing those things nowadays. But that was a transition. But it was really interesting. I got a lot of experience, knowledge, and it was fun. You know, it was a fun environment. I worked with one of the girls that I worked with ended up playing in the WNBA. I'm trying to think where everybody else ended up, but it's just a lot of people from all over the place. And these weren't like, working construction is totally different because those people are a mixture of people who are going to college and they're just working it in the summer, a mixture of people who've decided this is what my life's going to be. I'm going to work construction. And your foreman, you know, maybe similar to that. But at McDonald's, it was almost exclusively 15 to 18-year-olds. And maybe your managers were a little bit older and they were doing that as a career. But I don't know, just some thoughts I was thinking about as I was going through the drive-thru. It'll probably be a standalone video, but hope you guys are having a good day. And I will tell you this, minimum wage jobs were never meant for people to live on. And I think that's lost on a lot of people. Okay, your skill set, your capabilities should determine what you get paid. And if you don't have any skills, to me, that's the minimum wage set. There are other pieces of that, other caveats, and those have to do with social welfare nets. But at the same time, let's say you're person X and your desire is to go out in the world and work and make your way, upgrade your skills, graduate high school, go to a trade school. Don't rely on the government to determine what you're going to make. You do that yourself. And that really is what's going to determine your level of success, your motivation, all of that stuff. So super long video. But anyway, guys, have a great day. I'm going to go get the belt for this dryer.